Hello, Purple.
Hello, Jim, Bill, and Dangerous.
Hello, mate. Where do we start today?
I think we should start with the captain of the Adelaide Crows Footy Club, who put in a magnificent quarters 2, 3 and 4 for the Crows. I'm referring to Jordan Dawson. And someone, Jim, I think who has shone with his leadership role and could well be a Brownlow medalist potentially this year. Obviously, Nick Dacos is going to start that event as favourite, and Noah Anderson's going to have a big say in how it unfolds in that particular count. But I'd be surprised if Jordan Dawson's not right up there for a long part of the season. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get the 3 votes out of what he did against Hawthorn on the weekend, because at quarter time, as we know, they were 5 goals down, and he, I won't say single-handedly, but he certainly led the way with what happened after that.
Rankin was also very good.
Well, he was great in the last quarter, wasn't he? Yeah. And
tell you what he does, Dawson, is catch it beautifully. He marks the footy.
He's actually
for a
tall.
midfielder.
He's quite
superbly.
tall.
Yeah.
He could play in a previous era a key position role, couldn't he? Of that size and stature that he's got, and he's got a good read on the incoming ball, and he does take big marks.
What about Rankin's goal there late?
Nuts.
Ridiculous. Unbelievable goal.
Yeah, his, I mean, if Jordan Dawson's second quarter was great, Bill, Rankin's last quarter was equally as good, wasn't it? Because I thought he had a good game until 3-quarter time, but he stepped it right up in the last quarter and just took the game away from the Hawks.
Hardwick, who's a bloody good player.
Yeah, he is, and he's a regular shutdown player that Sam Mitchell relies on so much. So no, I just more wanted to just talk about the leadership of Dawson there in that perspective. The Brisbane Lions, we saw what they did to beat and actually control a lot of that game against Collingwood. And again, their stalwarts were unbelievably good again, weren't they? Hugh McCluggage, I feel, on the back of that game has absolutely locked himself away for what will be an inaugural All-Australian. And that is fully deserving, because if he wasn't best on ground, Logan Morris, who, Bill, is only just turned 20. He's
just turned 20.
Just turned 20, yeah. 40 goals to his name this season.
Yeah.
He has kicked 6 on the weekend against Collingwood. Previous to that, and they were in consecutive weeks, he kicked 5 goals against GWS and Geelong.
Yes, he did.
40 for the year. And we wondered, and I think the club itself, not want to say I think, I know, the club itself wondered how they were going to cover Joe Daniher. Well, they almost don't need to worry. They've got the man who played alongside Joe Daniher in last year's grand final, and he kicked 2 in the grand final last year.
How many did Joe kick last year?
I think he got it beyond 50 again. Yeah.
Because Logan will kick 50. So.
Well, he's on track now to reach that. Yeah. I mean, he stood up in the grand final, Logan Morris. He kicked the 2 goals as a 19-year-old. Again, there's bigger names at that club, and I've mentioned one of them in McCluggage. I thought Dunkley's role was, again, supreme, how he's just so almost entirely selfless, isn't he, Jim? The way he plays and sets up.
No, I love him.
I love what Lachie Neale's doing too. He's still maybe not going to be polling as he has done regularly in Brownlows, but he's still so important for them. And I just also loved what Andrews has done all year and what he did in that particular game. So, it's just a great performance for them, the way they bounced back after the previous week against the Gold Coast.
Yep.
And of the 9 matches, there were 3 of them that were good on paper, and the third of those was the Western Bulldogs GWS, and that didn't turn out as the other 2 did in terms of the contest, because the Bulldogs just, as we know, smashed the Giants, and more just through the positive element of Aaron Norton's form. He's now got the 50 goals for the season, which takes some doing for any club, and given that there were 6 of those
patch too earlier in the year, so he's been brilliant.
He did, and he struggled when Sam Darcy was out for those 6 weeks as he was, but since he's returned, that duo has been extraordinary. They both kicked the 5 in this particular game, and speaking of 5 matches being missed, Marcus Bontempelli, just to remind people, missed that many at the start of the year and just has come back seamlessly, and I feel has done yet again enough to make an All-Australian on the back of missing those first 5 games.
93 goals between the 2 big forwards.
Yeah.
Good effort, isn't it?
It is a good effort. Given that they, at least by way of coming out of last season, Bill, had plans to have Jamari Ugle-Hagan as part of that mix as well, and that clearly wasn't going to happen from a relatively early stage of the off-season, and we've seen it unfold quite disastrously from a personal perspective, football-wise, for Jamara, and how that looks for him in the future, who knows, but it'll be a conversation off there. They're the sort of, I suppose, the main positives out of the round, because the other games, I mean, there were 4 matches that were decided by 80 points or more. One of those was the one you called, Jim, and you looked forward to it, the Melbourne demolition of West Coast Eagles.
That's as bad a game of football as you can actually sit through that.
You're looking forward to it in advance of it too, weren't you? And it played out the way you feared it was going to.
And Brodie Grundy's a positive.
Yeah, I'll get to him in a minute, because I want to still say that Max Gawn's performance, Bill, I mean, even in the previous weeks...
Is he number 1
in my eyes, Bill, he is. And I get the case for Grundy that's being mounted, and what did he get in the coaches' votes? I'm assuming it was another 10, was it?
Who's this?
9.
Brodie Grundy. Grundy?
Yeah, and Max Gawn got 9. There
Okay,
you
so
go.
I'm just doing the quick maths. No, Brodie Grundy.
He got
9.
He got
Both
9, yeah.
9.
So I'm just doing the quick maths on the run. 55 votes from the previous 70 possible votes for Brodie Grundy. So add 9 to that is 64 out of a possible 80
Yes.
in the past 80 votes that have been
flying
awarded
home.
to Swans games. So the coaches, obviously his own, and the opponents in those last 8 games have felt that he's in that form. Bill, I still think in that conversation, Jim and Bill and Dangerous, that Luke Jackson, if they are going to have a backup big man, slash backup ruckman, I feel he's done enough, particularly with the versatility that he plays
he was
with.
bloody good.
Yeah.
Well, he got 8
on the weekend.
He
He
on
got
the
8,
weekend.
Yeah, I thought he was great for the whole game. It was a battle. We may as well jump onto that game. It was a battle for the Dockers because they were 4 goals down at one stage against the Blues.
And they lost young. They got nothing out of Sarong. I thought Andrew Brayshaw was only just.
Quite a game.
So, their one wood is their midfield, and their midfield was pretty soundly beaten.
And if we go
they
back to
still
this
won.
corresponding stage last year, they were coming out of a period of time where they had got themselves into the top 4, and then they lost their last 4 games
right.
and fell out of the 8 completely. That was on the cards again yesterday. It wasn't. They've now won 10 of their past 11. That only loss came against the Sydney Swans, who were in good form at that particular point in time. So there's a lot to like about their resilience, Bill.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I thought they were gone, but nice win.
Yep.
You just mark that down, you move on.
You move on. You just book that one, and it's all going to come down to them and potentially the Bulldogs. That last game, isn't it, in round 24, where the Dockers do play the Bulldogs down here in Melbourne, and there's going to be a lot at stake. Probably more so for the Bulldogs in that particular moment, but equally, depending on what happens next for the Dockers, it could be for them too. Nasai Wanganeen-Miller, just another quick shout out. Nowhere near as spectacularly brilliant as he was the previous week against Melbourne, but was still very, very solid against North Melbourne on the weekend, as was Rowan Marshall, who was so crucial to what happened the previous week. And you've been watching this guy emerge over the last 3 or 4 years, Bill. Max Holmes, what a player he is. Obviously,
gets
Jeremy
it and runs.
Yeah, he
Just
does.
runs and runs. And no one can catch him, but it looks like he's only going half rat power.
Yeah, and obviously Jeremy Cameron was the focus of it. And
Too much
another
focus.
6 goals for him, but he's won a best and fairest already, Max Holmes, hasn't he? So
He has.
that was last year. I'd be surprised if he's not very, very prominent.
You know who
again.
else was good? O'Sheen.
O'Sheen, mate.
O'Sheen was good.
Love him.
O'Sheen.
No, he's gold.
Oh, Jack Martin.
4 goals in
it was a sub.
5.5 minutes of game
Bring
time.
him on. He
Yeah.
kicked 4 goals in 5.16 minutes.
There you go.
He was on fire. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was good. It was
He's
good.
always had the talent, hasn't he?
He might
Even
be,
if you go way back, even 12 seasons when he first came into the system as a Gold Coast Suns player, and they thought he was going to be anything, and then the body let him down regularly, and then Carlton had a play for him, and look, he certainly showed signs, even in the 2 or 3 matches he played last year, but he couldn't get through those 2 or 3 matches, and even in the last game that he did play as a Blue, he got both knocked out and did a knee in the one incident, and it sort of almost encapsulated his time at the Blues. He was he just regularly got injured. The Cats, as we know, they got a pre-season into him and then just backed him off, and I think that was important. He was nearly ready to go in round 1, but they thought, no, we're just going to take our time with you, and he could emerge as the most crucial player in what they are about.
Damien.
Yes, I thought you were doing the ad. It's time to go to an ad, which it is as well, Bill.
It is as well.
X factor.
When you start doing that, it's time to go to an ad.
Time to go.
So
to
negatives next?
Yes.
Mitch Cleary just texted me.
Yes.
Max Holmes has got even better since his Mad Monday costume. Because
Which was?
Max Holmes went as Mitch Cleary. So Mitch
Oh, he's
is
claiming it. The Massai
Come
Warrior.
on,
Come on,
Mitchy.
Massai.
Come on,
Better
Mitch.
than that.
Oh,
All right,
no, he's not.
where are we going negative?
Well, we might just go to the fixturing again, Jim. I know there's certain seasons that unfold really, really nicely, as 2022, 3 and 4 did, and I thought they were ripping home and away seasons. This one's not in that category.
No.
And even if you look at round 22, Bill, that's coming up, the first game of the 9
Great.
is a ripper.
Yes.
And it should be a ripper because it's Hawthorn versus Collingwood. But the following 8 are in keeping with what's happened recently, and it's a bit of a worry. There's not a lot on paper that's enticing about them, Bill.
the Giants in North in Canberra. All right. West Coast Adelaide in Perth. All right. Port
Geelong,
Adelaide, Freo.
Essendon.
Geelong, Essendon. Carlton, Gold Coast. Actually, that's just shit.
So it is a concern, isn't it? I mean, this breakaway 9 teams we've got above the, fighting for the 8 spots and how that looks. There's a battle in itself there, but they're not getting many games against each other. And again, I know these are quirks of fixturing. I get all of that, but it's unfolded badly, hasn't it? So
I got a question for you both. Are we worried about Collingwood?
I'm not.
Well, you spoke about a block of training that they might be
supposed to be in a
heavy
hard block.
Yeah, so
yeah,
that
heavy
might
block.
explain why they've flattened out.
But they've lost 3 of their last 4.
they have, and
Yes.
only just got over Richmond
That's
too.
right.
Yeah.
The back line struggling.
It is.
And they've only beaten 5 out of the top 10 something.
Oh my goodness!
They've only won 5 out of 10 games against the top 8 sides.
Something.
Our
So we're worried about them?
No, I think they'll be
Right. What about the Giants?
Before you move off them, just to your point, Bill, I think it's a very valid point you make.
If
because
I made it.
they're struggling a bit. I think we'll go with that. The fact that Patrick Voss got Darcy Moore and others
Yes,
in that back line for
exactly.
6 goals
Yes.
3 weeks ago, and then that Logan Morris got them again for
Yes.
another 6, it's a concern, isn't
is.
it? Jeremy Howe will rectify
He's the
partially
one,
that
yep.
because he should come back as soon as this particular game against Hawthorn, and I think they might have to bring back Frampton as well. Now, he's no world beater, Frampton, but he holds up and he is a premiership player in that backline mix and was having a good season before he went down recently
was,
with
yes,
injury. So,
right.
bit to come back. They got a game into Jordan DeGoey. They also got a game into Bobby Hill, and that had been about 4 or 5 weeks with Bobby Hill and even longer than that for Geordie. So, bit to
All right.
be encouraged
The
by.
Giants.
Yeah, I reckon there's worries there because Jesse Hogan's a major problem. When he has played this year,
He's not right, is
prior to recently, he was going okay. He missed the start of the year with injury. He's missed games during the year with injury. Now got a pretty serious foot injury, which is curtailing his ability to actually play, and more importantly for a full forward and a reigning common medalist, kick the ball even. So I think you're right in raising that, Bill, and obviously being as they were in the weekend, just gone against the Bulldogs without Kelly and also Buckley as part of that, and they're not coming back soon either.
That's right.
Yeah.
Our digital man here, Tom Beers, made a very good point earlier, or asked a very good question, and that is,
Busy.
have Port Adelaide got away with it?
Yeah.
They got beaten by 80 points. They got beaten by 100 points or as good as the week before.
Yeah.
And for a team that I would have thought
Yes.
started this season with maybe
Hope.
not top 4, but certainly
Yeah.
finals aspirations,
Yeah.
this season has gone horribly pear-shaped.
It has, Jimmy, given they were coming off a preliminary
Yep.
final performance. Now, they lost that game to Sydney last year at the SCG, but they bring in Lukosius, who got injured early, so you factor all of that in as well. But, yeah, I think they plan to be I don't say I think. They did plan to be a whole lot better than they are.
Well,
and it's a fair question.
So
that
my
Bizzy
take
asks.
on that is, Ken said, I will take all the bullets. No good you coming in, Josh, and coaching the last few games, and we're going to get thrashed, and then everyone will be up against you. So I think Ken said, I'll take the bullets here, and you start
But
afresh
Bearsy's
next
point
year.
is, are they copping enough bullets?
Well,
I mean, North are always going to be rubbish,
Yes.
I think, and so are Richmond and so are West Coast, but they get their head kicked in every week. Whereas Port, I think Bearsy makes a good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they've
Might
got
have
some
just-
injuries.
Might
Yeah.
have just escaped.
And just on the succession plan, which they were
beers
very
out there.
public about, how does Josh Carr now come in and change it dramatically, Jim? Because he's been the senior assistant to Ken Hinkley for a number of years already, and ultimately is responsible for how that midfield has looked and worked this year. So while it's a change in the title, I don't know whether it's going to be a change in the necessary, say, dialogue and even voice around the
they're
football
going to have
club.
to pick. What are their draft picks like? They're going to have to do something. Get rid of someone or
Yeah.
get some early picks.
And the unknown they've got around Zach Butters, who's contracted for next year, but no guarantee beyond. Ooh, you're saying Geelong,
Well,
there,
hello,
are you,
Bill.
Bill?
Oh,
What did Barry
looking
Stone
out the
tell you
window.
on the weekend?
Oh, Barry would know. for
What did
anything,
someone
but-
tell you-
No,
tell
no,
you?
I just don't know. He lives. Where's he live out that way, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Back at
Is-
Smash.
There's a fair
Yeah,
bit of
that's
interest
somewhere
Across the road there, Jim.
in him.
And
So,
Brock-
Well, so they bloody should
Yeah,
be,
yeah.
by the way, because he's a very,
And-
very
yeah.
good player.
And very close with Ken.
Right.
Very close with
okay.
Right, I
Yep.
see. Where else?
Hawthorne, I know you're going to be speaking to John Newcomb.
Newcomb.
What should we ask
so-
him?
I think you'd ask him. Do you want me to really go down that path? Or is
Yeah.
it- yeah.
Well,
Will you
what do you-
definitely ask
Yeah.
about Will Day's injury?
Yeah, that's a
Well,
worry.
Yeah.
That's a
because
worry.
is it the old injury or is it a new injury?
Well, the
That's-
club is making sure that everyone hears that he copped a fresh knock on the same foot that was the old injury. So there might be a bit of both, Bill. But look, you do worry about a player now who, for 3 times since the start of 2024, has had a serious problem now with that same foot. And the navicular
They are
is...
bastards of
they
things.
are, Jim.
Yes.
It's ended careers. I mean, Bill knows it ended the career of Matty Egan.
That's
Yeah, back
right.
in 2007 before he even got to play in that year's final series. And the problems that James Hurd's still talks about in terms of him having to rehab his own issues in that space.
Yep.
And look, Will Day's already come back twice from this issue. He's now going to have to do it a third time. And to me, he's their best player, has been for some time. He's one of best and fairest, and he's a point of difference. Now, they weren't able to get past the semi-final last year without him for a shoulder injury on top of the foot problems he's had, Bill. So, yeah. I mean, I think the point you raise, is it a continuation of the problem he had or a fresh
I'll ask
issue?
Shy that. I
Ask
promise.
Shy that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be keen to see what he says.
So here's an interesting question again. This one hasn't come from Beers about the Hawks. I think on the weekend they had, let's say, 10 maybe players somewhere around there that have been brought in from other clubs.
Yep.
And they are the only team this year that haven't had a debutant.
Yes.
So if they, with that mix, if they don't make the finals, how are you viewing that particular scenario?
I agree with that assessment.
Because that smacks of we are in the now. We're top four. We're this is a premiership sort of window for us.
Yeah, and the two guys they brought in, they were targeted players in Barris and Battle.
They've both been really good.
And they've
by
been
the
good.
way.
Yeah. So again, I'm with you, Jim. Again, one team is going to be considered really unlucky this year, and I think that is the words we're going to use more than the
Giants
the negative on
losing
it.
have really helped
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think they'll make it now.
Yep. Sad news in that footy context for Harry O'Farrell of Carlton, who is the second first-year player as a Blue Bill this year to now go down with an ACL, which he suffered yesterday against Fremantle. And again, Blue supporters well know that Jagger Smith, their first pick in last year's draft, did the same injury in the pre-season. So, yeah, their future, who they're prepared to get some footy into and blood. And I thought O'Farrell, while he's only played a handful of games, was actually starting to look like someone who was going to shoulder a lot of the responsibilities down back in the future. And look, he clearly still has a chance to do that, and let's hope he does. But it's a bad time of year, isn't it, to get an ACL because you don't just miss the remainder of this year, you miss maybe all of last year.
Pretty much the whole of the next year.
And particularly with a bigger player as he is, still young in the AFL system, you might want to play it cautiously and just say, look, we don't see you again until 2027. Look, the less said about West Coast sometimes is the better. The less said about North Melbourne sometimes is the better. I'm still going through the negatives, but the less said about those two clubs.
What was the most negative? Because Richmond kicked 2 goals.
That's another negative too, isn't it? Yeah,
2 goals.
And the second of those two came really late. Yeah. So, look, I'm less negative on Richmond, Bill, because they've had a crack at various stages of the year. They've had a really sustained bad patch as well. I get that. And they're back into another bad patch. But they have still won 5 matches.
They have won 5.
They have won 5 matches, which I think is about 4 more than we thought, or certainly more than I thought they were going to win. So you can see what they're doing. At least there's a plan around what they're doing in the very big picture. I think North Melbourne and West Coast have got lost in their bigger plans, and I think I've got Port Adelaide mentioned here, but I didn't articulate it as well as Beersy maybe did. So Beersy might have articulated.
Have a look at him.
Real wobble.
Yeah. Got a proper head wobble.
The negatives.
Good to see you, mate. Thanks for dropping by.
See you, boys.